So good morning, class. How are you today?
Good
Good
morning,
morning po,
ma'am.
ma'am. We're okay po.
I'm glad that you're all okay. So before we start,
Ma'am.
may I ask Jenny Katakutan to lead the prayer. Miss Jenny?
Guys, please turn off your microphone for our prayer and for the presence of the Lord. Lord God, thank you so much for giving us another day to study and prepare for a better life in the future. Thank you for giving us a chance to continue learning amidst a pandemic which caused a lot of changes in our lives. Bless our parents who work to support the needs. Bless also our teachers who are doing their best to inspire and guide us, especially in these trying times. Fill us with your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Give us good memory so that we can understand and remember what we are going to study now. Pray in the name of Jesus Christ, our Lord. Amen.
So thank you, Jenny. So looking at the participant listed in here, you're all present. Pero dahil may trust issues ako, I want you to open all your cameras and say present once I call your name. Is that clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Christine Joy Domingo.
Present, ma'am.
Clarence Cruz.
Present, ma'am.
Irene Custudio. Siguro nasa CR lang si Irene. So, Miss Jenny Katakutan.
Present, ma'am.
Miss Joanne Candelario.
Present, ma'am.
Luris Makatsyag.
Present, ma'am.
Mark Borbano.
Present, ma'am.
Roxel Romero.
Present, ma'am.
Rufa de la Cruz.
Present, ma'am.
Trisha Joy Suarez.
Present po, ma'am.
Winville Ignacio. Okay, so let's start. But before we go to our discussion, I will introduce you to my classroom rules. Wait, share screen ko lang. Is my screen visible, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes po, ma'am.
So I have here 5 rules in my class. So the first rule is mute yourself except when you have the floor. So class, always mute your microphone, but once I call your name to answer or you have questions, you can unmute your mic. So the second rule is raise your hand virtually for permission to speak. One person talks at a time. So if you have questions or you want to answer, just click the raise hand button para di kayo sabay-sabay magsalita at para magkaintindihan tayo. Maliwanag po ba yon?
Yes,
Yes,
po, ma'am.
ma'am.
Rule
Yes
is
po, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
you can freely turn on and off your camera. So it is okay if you turn off your camera, but I will appreciate if you can turn on your camera sometimes. So rule number 4 is avoid distracting backgrounds or actions. Huwag kayong magulo guys kapag ito-turn on nyo yung camera nyo. Behave lang kayo and don't do unnecessary things na makaka-distract sa mga kaklase nyo. So rule number 5 is encourage each other with appropriate response emojis. So is that clear, class? Any violent reaction to my classroom rules?
None, ma'am.
None, ma'am.
Okay, before we start for the lesson for today, let's have first a recap to our lesson yesterday. So what is a force? A force is an influence that can change the motion of an object. Force can be also be described as a push or pull. What is motion? Motion is described in terms of displacement, distance, velocity, acceleration, speed, and time. So before we start the lesson, who among you can give a brief summary of our lesson yesterday? So if you want to recite, just raise your hand, and once I call your name, you can unmute your microphone. Miss Luris.
Yes, ma'am. Am I audible, ma'am?
Yes. Give me
Naririnig
your...
po ba ako, ma'am?
Opo, naririnig ka po.
Ay.
Sige
So,
lang.
ma'am, yesterday, I learned that in describing the motion of an object, we do not just... Ma'am,
No.
paulit nga po
Hello?
ng question.
Brief summary of our lesson yesterday. Our lesson yesterday is about force and motion.
Yes, ma'am. And what I have learned from our lesson yesterday, ma'am.
Opo.
Yesterday, I learned that in describing the motion of one object, we do not just describe how fast the object moves, but also we also consider the direction to where it is going po.
Thank you, Ms. Makachag. That's correct. In describing the motion of an object, we should consider that too, the speed and the direction of an object. And speed with direction is referred to what? It is referred to velocity. So anyone who can share their thoughts about the topic yesterday? Miss Irene.
Good morning, ma'am. So I learned that when we solve for the distance traveled by each participant over the time he took to cover such distance, then we have computed for his average speed.
Okay, thank you, Miss Irene. But why we computed average speed, not just speed? Miss Jenny.
Hello, ma'am. Good morning po. So why we computed average speed, not just speed? Ma'am, it is considered an average speed because it represents the speed of the participant throughout his travel po.
Thank you, Jenny. That's correct. And during his travel, there were instances that his speed vary. His speed at an instant is called instantaneous speed. And similarly, the velocity of a moving body at an instant is called instantaneous velocity. So class, always remember that when an object instantaneous speed values are always the same, then it means that the object is moving with constant speed. We refer to this as constant motion. So now that seems that you're all familiar with yesterday's lesson, you're now ready to move on to our next topic. But before we do that, do you want to play a game?
Yes, ma'am, of course.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So we have here a warm-up activity, and this game is called Name Me. So I will group you into two teams, Team 1 and Team 2. So Team 1 would be Christine Joy Domingo, Clarence Cruz, Irene Custudio, Jenica Takutan, Joanne Candelario. And team 2 would be Luis Macachag, Mark Borbano, Roxel Romero, Rufa de la Cruz, Tricia Joy Suarez, and Winville Ignacio. So in this activity, each of you will choose a number that will flash on the screen later on. And that number has a corresponding questions you need to answer. Every correct answer, you can gain points for your team. And the team who will gain more points will be the winner and will have additional points on their quiz later on. Is that clear, class?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Wait. So the team number 1 is first to answer. So team number 1, choose your number.
Number 6.
Number 6. So force from blank can move Kalesa and a plow on rice field. What is your answer? Team 1. Hey. Team 1, what is your answer? Okay, I'll give you 5 seconds to think. The answer. Ay, shit. Biglang lumaki. Ba't biglang lumaki? Wait lang, ha?
Let's go.
Hala, ba't na nangyari? Okay, wala. So, ang sagot po ay animals. Di ba sa Kalesa,
Yung
ang nasa harap niya, horse. Oh, so, animals. Ang nagbibigay ng fork. So, wala tayong point sa team number 1. So, team number 2, choose your number.
7 po, ma'am.
7. So, what force can move a kite?
Wind.
Wind po.
Very good. So, team number 2, team number 1, choose your number.
Air, ma'am.
Ha? Ano po?
Ay, number 1.
Number 1. So, can a table make its own motion? True or false? Team 1. Can a table make its own motion? True or false?
False. False.
Okay, that's correct. So, team 2. Choose your number. Team 2, choose your
3.
number.
3. 4, ma'am. Ay, 3.
So, what force can make needles and other metals move?
Magnet po.
Correct, correct, team 2. So, team 1, choose your number.
Yeah.
2.
Magnet.
So, blank can either be push or a pull. Team 1,
Force.
tama. So, team 2, choose your number. Tayo na po.
4 po.
So, can a dog make its own motion? True or false?
True.
True po, ma'am.
Very good.
True.
So, team 1, choose your number.
There's number
5.
5.
Pushing, pulling, or both?
Both.
Ayan. Correct. So, team 2. Isa na lang. What force can move appliances in your house?
Electricity.
Electricity.
That's correct. So, our winner is team number.
Hey, nanalo kami.
Yay! May music kayo.
So, congrats team number 2.
Yay!
You have plus points later on in our quiz. So, let's now go back
Thank
to
you
our
po, ma'am.
lesson. So, our topic for today is all about the categories of waves, transverse and longitudinal waves. So, waves around you. The contents of my topic is about waves, mechanical waves, transverse, and longitudinal waves. So let's search first the meaning of waves. So waves occur all around us in physical world. For example, in that picture, it is a boy strumming the strings of a guitar. So when we strum the string of a guitar, sound waves carry the noise all around us. Next example, in that picture, the boy throw a stone into the water. So when we throw a stone into the lake or water wave spread out from the splash. So another example is when we switch on the light waves fill the room. So always remember that water, sound, and light waves differ in important ways, but they are all share the basic properties of wave motion. For example, you can see water waves, but you don't see sound waves and light waves, but we experience them in other ways. For example, dito, water waves, nakikita natin mismo yung water waves. But here in sound waves and light waves, we don't see them. We just experience them in some other ways. So how can we experience sound waves and light waves? So we experience sound waves because our ears can detect sound waves. Halimbawa, pag may music, hindi naman natin nakikita yung music, di ba? Naririnig lang natin siya. So, we also experience light waves because our skin get burned by ultraviolet rays, by ultraviolet wave. If we stay for too long in the sun. So, yun. So based on our examples, what do you think are waves? A wave is a periodic disturbance that moves away from a source and carries energy with it. Example, earthquake. Have you personally experienced an earthquake, class? Have you personally
Yes, ma'am.
experienced
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
How did it feel? How did
I
it
can
feel?
feel the vibration.
Okay, did you feel the vibrations? So, did you know that you can understand earthquake by studying waves? Earthquake waves shows us that the amount of energy carried by a wave can do work on objects by exerting forces that move objects from their original positions. So for you to understand more about waves, class, kindly open all your cameras and say hi to your classmates and try to wave your hands and observe the motion of your hands. Wave your hands, class. Okay, very good, class. Do you make side-to-side motion with the palm of your hand?
Yes po, ma'am.
Do you do up and down motion with your hand?
Yes po, ma'am.
Did you feel the vibrations while waving your hand?
Yes po, ma'am.
Very good. So here, waving is a common gesture that people do to catch someone's attention or to convey a farewell. But did you know that waving, uh, did you know that the repetitive motion that you do with your hands while waving is called vibration? And that vibration causes wave motion. And when you observe a wave, the sources is always vibration. Do you understand now what are waves?
Yes, ma'am.
Since you already understand the
ma'am.
meaning of waves, let us now search the meaning of mechanical waves. This is an example of mechanical waves. So mechanical waves are those waves which, when travel, transfers energy on the medium traveled. So mechanical waves requires a medium in order to transport energy from one location to another. There are different media for waves. The first the first media is solid. So this is the example of a solid media. So in making a jump rope wave, it requires a jump rope as a medium. So the second media is liquid. This is an example of a water wave. So to create a water wave, it requires a water. So next, gas. Gas is sound waves are incapable of traveling through vacuum. So sound wave is an example of mechanical wave because mechanical waves are incapable of traveling through vacuum. So this jump rope wave, water wave, sound waves are all examples of mechanical wave because each of them requires a medium in order to exist. So do you understand what is mechanical waves?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Since you already understand the meaning of mechanical wave, I will now introduce you to the different types of waves distinguished according to the direction of vibration particles with respect to the direction in which the waves travel. So this is the two basic types of wave motion for mechanical wave. So the first one is transverse waves and the second one is longitudinal wave. So let's search first the meaning of transverse wave. So look, so in the left is the illustration of a transverse wave. So observe the waveform and the wave motion. Transverse waves are waves which have a tendency to travel perpendicular to an applied force. So for example, you are moving a spring with one hand and moving it up and down. The waves formed are perpendicular to the direction of wave motion. So when you move a spring up and down, you can see a right angle are formed. And the parts where the particles are highest are called crest, and the points where particles are lowest are called trough. So ito siya guys. Wait. Transverse. So this is, nakikita nyo ba guys? So this is transverse waves. So the parts where the particles are highest, dito siya, ang tawag dyan is crest. And the parts naman, ang mga particles are nasa baba, ay tinatawag na trough. At as you can see in the transverse waves, the waves form are perpendicular to the direction of the wave motion. So kapag sa transverse waves, lagi ang nakikreate niyan, merong right angle. So yan. Ang form niya na wave is perpendicular to the direction of the wave motion. So next is, I'll give you some examples of transverse waves. So the first example is the ocean waves. So here, wait lang. So this is one of the example of a transverse waves, because the waves formed in ocean waves are perpendicular to the direction of wave motion. So as you can see here in the picture, the ocean waves, a right angle form in the ocean wave. So another example is the light waves. So let us focus on this because light has a unique property. We classify light as an electromagnetic wave because by nature it does not require a medium to propagate. Transverse wave is a mechanical wave, and mechanical wave requires a medium to propagate. But why we have light waves as an example of transverse waves when light waves does not require a medium to propagate? So even we classify light waves as an electromagnetic waves, light wave also has the properties of transverse wave. By looking at the picture in the slide, you will notice that the waves particles of light waves are perpendicular to the direction of wave motion. So do you understand what is transverse waves?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So let us move on to longitudinal waves. So longitudinal, look at this illustration. This is the representation of a longitudinal wave. So observe the direction of wave motion. Longitudinal waves are waves in which the medium of vibration is parallel to the direction of the wave travels and displacement of the medium in the same and opposite direction of wave propagation. So longitudinal waves are wave particles move parallel to the direction of wave motion. So if transverse wave is, the wave of transverse wave is perpendicular to the direction of the wave motion, the longitudinal wave is parallel to the direction of the wave motion. So look at the picture in the slide. Consider a long spiral spring. So there are parts of a coil which are compressed together, and that is called compression. And there are parts that is spread out, and that is called rarefaction. So this is an example of longitudinal waves. Wait. The first example is sound waves. So sound waves is an example of a longitudinal wave because as you can see in the picture, a sound traveling in air has a compression and rarefaction as they travel into our ear. So the next example is the seismic waves, specifically a P waves. So a P wave is a seismic body waves that shakes the ground back and forth in the same direction and in the opposite direction as the wave is moving. As you can see in the arrows, it is moving left and right during an earthquake. So do you understand what is longitudinal waves?
Yes.
Seen a slinky before?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a slinky. If you're having difficulties in understanding what is waves, a slinky will help you to understand our topic because slinky both exhibits the, the properties of transverse and longitudinal waves. So do you understand our lesson?
Yes.
Very good, class. Do you have any question about waves?
None, ma'am.
Is everything clear with the topic discussed?
Yes, ma'am.
Ma'am.
So, since you don't have any questions,
Yes,
I'll be the one to give you questions. So once I call your name, please unmute your microphone and answer the question. To Mr. Burbano, what is waves?
Yes, ma'am.
What is waves?
Wave. A wave is a periodic disturbance that moves away from a source and carries energy with it. Yan po, ma'am.
Very good, Mr. Burbano. That simply means that waves can set objects into motion. So next, Miss Luris, what causes waves?
Good morning, ma'am. Waves caused by the source of a vibration. That's it, ma'am.
Very good, Miss Makatchak. That's correct. Waves are caused by the source of vibration. That's why when there is a speaker and produces a loud sound, we can feel the vibration. Oh. Next, what is the difference between transverse and longitudinal waves? Miss Irene.
So the difference between transverse and longitudinal wave is the transverse wave are particles move perpendicularly to the direction of the wave motion, while longitudinal waves are the waves particles move parallel to the direction of the motion.
Very well said, Miss Custodio. That's correct. Transverse waves have a tendency to travel perpendicular to an applied force, and longitudinal waves are waves in which the vibration of the medium is parallel to the direction of the wave travels. So last, what is mechanical wave? Miss Domingo.
Yes, ma'am. Mechanical waves are those waves which, when travels, transfer energy on the medium traveled.
Very good, Miss Domingo. That's correct. So, ang gagaling naman ng mga estudyante ko. So, kilala niyo ba, class, kung sino to? For sure, yung mga naglalaro ng ML, kilala yan.
Hindi
So
ko
this,
po yan kilala.
Hindi po
So
kami
this is-
gamer ng internet, ma'am.
so this is one of
Teacher.
the
Ko po
hero
yung
in Mobile
kilala,
Legends.
ma'am.
Is a
Oh,
fighter.
si Chu.
I'm not able to play Here.
Parang robot si
Hello,
Louis.
Miss Kathy.
Yun. He is a fighter and his name is Chu. So, ang sabi ni Chu is, knowing is not enough, we must apply. So, since you already know the concept about waves, mechanical waves, transverse, and longitudinal waves, let us know if you can apply your knowledge in real world. So, let's do this short activity. So, think at least 5 real-life examples of transverse and longitudinal waves. I'll give you 5 minutes to think. You may start now, and I'll be picking 2 students to share their answer. Is that clear?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I'll give you 5 minutes. Ilang minutes na? Okay, class, are you done?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So, Miss Jenny, can you share your answers, examples about transverse waves? Miss Jenny. Hello.
Ma'am, I am audible po.
Opo.
So, ma'am, we experience transverse waves in our daily life. Like for examples are the ripples on the surface of water. And of course, when we play a guitar, yung vibrations in a guitar string po. Yun po yung example ng transverse waves in our daily life.
Very good, Jenny. So, how about Mark Borbano, examples of longitudinal waves?
Yes, ma'am. One of the example of longitudinal wave is number 1 is clapping. Number 2 is vibrating drums heads. Number 3 is earthquake. Number 4 is speaking on mic. And the last one, number 5 is vibration in the window panels after thunder. Yun po, ma'am.
Very good, Mark. So, before we end our lesson, before we end this class, let's have first a short quiz. So, I'll send you the link and answer all the given questions. For task 1, identification, it is 5 items, and for task 2, it is essay questions, and it is 2 items, 5 points each. So do not cheat and be honest to your answers, okay? Link uploaded, you may now start. The link will close after 10 minutes. So, yun. So, are you all done, class? Are you all done?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, I've seen all your scores and I'm very happy that that everyone is past the quiz. Congrats. Give yourself a virtual clap. Congrats, guys. Shut up. So, for your assignment, research and do an advanced reading about sounds, including its characteristics. So, is there any questions before we leave? Is there any questions before we leave?
None, ma'am.
So,
None, ma'am.
ma'am.
before I forget, open all your cameras and I'll take a picture for our documentation.
This is our documentation.
So, yeah. Picture tayo, guys. Open your camera. Paano ba ito? Wala yung large gallery. Ay. Okay. Tapos na. Okay, class. Have a good day and see you tomorrow. Goodbye, class. Goodbye, class.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.